All right, so hopefully you have this whole thing filled in with all the different parts of your story that are super important. So, what I have on here today is two ideas: main idea and lesson. These are the two things that we're always really trying to figure out when we read a story, and where we find the answers to these questions is in all of the things that you've just written down. So, main idea is what the story is mostly about. We might talk about characters and the problem and solution when we're talking about main idea. We're trying to figure out in one or two sentences what the story is mostly about. If you had to explain it to me, what would you say? So that I understood what I'm going to read. The lesson is different. The lesson is what the author is trying to teach us. So, in this story, there is definitely a lesson. The author is definitely trying to teach us something. While we might not mention specific characters or things that happen in the story when we're talking about the lesson, we have to think about them because that's our evidence. That's our evidence as to why the author is teaching us what we think they are. So, we'll go through an example. I'm going to talk about Frozen because I know we've all seen the movie Frozen. So, what is the story mostly about? I have to think about the characters, I have to think about the setting, and I have to think about the problem and the solution. So, main characters, not all the characters. Not all the characters are necessarily going to be important. I'm going to think about Elsa, Anna, and that's probably good. The problem and the solution. What was the problem? Well, she got her powers and she was scared of them, so she ran away, and that caused a lot of chaos. So, the solution was her sister came and found her. They worked it out, and they came back and worked together to save the town. So, what that story is mostly about is Elsa has powers and gets scared and runs away, and Anna goes to help her and bring her back home. That's what the story is mostly about. I've talked about the characters, talked kind of about the problem and the solution, and I might even mention the ice castle if I wanted to. That's my main idea. That's what the story is mostly about. I've talked about all the important things that I listed on my chart. Now for the lesson. That is something a little different. Something that we're going to talk about tomorrow. So, for today, what I want you to do is I want you to go through your story, review all the different important parts of the book, and in this middle box, I know it says title, but you can just ignore that. In the middle box, I want you to tell me in one or two sentences, what is the main idea? What is the main idea of your story? You're going to think about the characters and the problem and the solution. Okay? So, write that down and I will see you tomorrow and we will talk about lesson.